5 seconds. Mr. Chancellor, Mr. Vice Chancellor, and friends, I am very happy to have had this opportunity to be with you on this momentous event in your life. Graduation marks a watershed in the life of a person. For many, this may be the end of their educational career and the beginning of a more arduous and challenging phase of their life. Even for those of you who propose to continue your educational pursuits, this marks, in a sense, your coming of age because hereafter you would be expected to be progressively self reliant in your intellectual pursuits. You have now become part of the community of worthy citizens of our country, and with your educational attainments will be called upon to make a positive contribution to the shaping of national policies. Ours is a liberal democratic society which depends on an intelligent involvement of the people in the wider socio-political and economic processes. As citizens of our young republic, inevitably you have to be committed to the sustenance of the broader values that govern our political system. Not to be so involved is to retreat from our basic responsibility. Among the many tasks of a responsible citizen in a democracy, perhaps none is so important as to keep alive and to strengthen the alert, discriminating and well informed discussion of issues of public policy. It is for this reason that I feel particularly happy in being able to share my thoughts with you today. I propose to speak to you about the three major aspects of our national life. They together constitute the resurgence which is making the new India. The nation engaged in the task of reconstruction has to face various challenges economic, political, and social. But more than anything else, the basic challenge is that of maintaining the unity and the integrity of the country. We are proud of the rich heritage of this multilingual, multiracial, and many splendored culture of our country. India has always been a nation in which various faiths and regions have flourished peacefully, and this country has given a message of tolerance and understanding to the world. However, this philosophy now seems to be questioned in certain sections of society, and communal harmony and peace is being disturbed in various parts of the country. It is needless for me to say that the basic concept of secularism, which is enshrined in the Constitution, is very vital for our survival. A nation which is facing several other challenges on economic, social, and political fronts cannot afford to weaken its fabric of society by these internal dissensions and tendency of taking issues to the streets. The basic problem is of removing mutual distrust and suspicion in the minds of the people of various communities. In this process, your role as educated youths and responsible constituents of the larger community is bound to be of crucial importance. The concept of one nation, one people should be the very basis of our thought and action. This is the only way in which we can make the other tasks of economic and social reconstruction possible. In the words of a preamble of the Indian Constitution, we have pledged to uphold the sovereignty of the Republic and to secure to all the citizens justice, liberty, and equality. The preamble is indeed a revolutionary departure from the traditional concepts in several ways. At the time of independence, we inherited a society in which the ideas of inequalities, discriminations, and privileges were deeply embedded in the minds of the people. Even the socially backward and the economically exploited showed an almost servile and illogical adherence to tradition. Even today, vestiges of this discriminatory tradition persist. The first major task facing us is therefore that of social reconstruction. It is no doubt true that over the last 2 decades we have made some advances in this direction, but considerable ground is yet to be covered. Our efforts to force the pace of modernization are bound to be retarded if the social constraints are not removed as a first priority. In the post independence period, we have created the necessary legislative framework for this purpose, but we will have to admit this. A great deal needs to be done to implement the provisions of such legislation. Thus, even though the idea of untouchability is fast vanishing, there are still some sections of the society which seem to justify it on the grounds of religious precepts. Such ideas can have no place in the times of renewal and redefinition of old values. Some agonizing choices have to be made in any developing and changing society. These are inevitable. Our social structure will have to be in consonance with the demands of the changing, pulsating, and industrialized economy. There has to be a sincere and abiding commitment to this cause, especially on the part of educated youth. Increasing industrialization and the resultant urbanization have thrown up new challenges, and these have no doubt contributed to the increasing tensions in society. But we will have to admit that the process of industrialization and urbanization is also a powerful force for doing away with the narrow loyalties of caste, religion, region, and language. A concerted crusade will have to be carried on by our youth against these divisive forces which go to sap the very modifications to meet the basic challenge of poverty and ignorance. I am now very happy to wish you all the best.